Olga.
Hi, César. Today I was investigating the attention and the consciousness, and you know why when we put attention, like every consciousness is everything. It's like a field. Everything is appearing, but it's like our mind, our attention goes to certain things, and it usually goes to something which is stronger. Like, for example, I was sitting on the beach and I was sitting, and the thoughts are coming. So my attention goes to my thoughts. Then the birds is singing, yeah, bird is singing. Still, I'm thinking in thought, but when the something stronger, for example, if the bird will start shouting like strong, then my attention goes to birds. So it's sort of like attention go to where it is to something very strong, where there is a movement appears. So attention goes there, and other things like not existing. It's as if it's not existing. So I was looking into this. What is the attention? Attention. It's not consciousness. We're putting attention in we're aware about something. It's not consciousness. It's not the full consciousness. It's like selective consciousness.
That's the mind.
That's the mind.
Reflected consciousness, yes. That's I that pays attention to something. Where I means body. I am the body and I pay attention to something. The barking of the dog, the singing of the birds, or my own thoughts.
Do you think if I will purposely from something one, for example, something strong, strong appearing, something from the strong appearance, whatever it could be, sounds or vision, spread it to everything. Consciously, like with effort, spread it from one to everything. For example, I'm sitting and my attention goes to my mind, like it's one. Then something else is appearing. There is a sound, I feel my body, there is a body sensation, there is a wind. So if I purposely will spread my awareness, would it be a good practice?
See, you again want to create your own methods. And that methods will take you away from self-knowledge. The suggestion is to pay attention to the one that pays attention. If you are paying attention to something, the mind is present. When you pay attention to the one that pays attention, which is the mind, it disappears.
So that's what I'm doing. It's sort of like harmful. Like I'm paying attention to everything. Is it helpful? Because I feel it's like helpful for me. It takes me away from my mind, from my thinking.
But still you are paying attention to something. In this case, everything.
Everything, yeah.
There is the mind paying attention to everything. Are you following? If the mind,
yes.
If the mind is paying attention to everything, the mind is present. Because the mind is practicing that, it keeps the mind, it doesn't dissolve the mind.
Not even like sub-practice, like a step to the other practice. Not at all, not to do it at all?
Why you want to go through that? Why don't you take the shortcut?
Because it's difficult. It's like becomes slow, like
Everything is difficult at the beginning. With the practice, it becomes easy. And in that context, the mind is guiding the mind. The mind is observing its movement itself, doing this. When I pay attention to something, then it goes. When I pay attention to everything. So you are thinking, you want to be free from thoughts, but all thoughts are thoughts.
yeah, but maybe I'm thinking that what you are talking about, it will become more evident, more what you are, that self will, when we take our attention from our mind to whole experience. So what you are teaching us is, it becomes evident, it will appear.
No.
No.
What I'm talking about becomes evident when the mind is quiet. And the mind is quiet when it's not paying attention to something. If you're paying attention to something, the mind is externalized through the senses. The mind is
Yeah.
paying attention to something and bring the attention back to itself or to its source.
So all these practices like Vipassana, all this, you don't recommend it?
No.
They consider it's like a way to enlightenment.
No. There is no way to enlightenment. There is no way to what you are. If you are what you are already, if you are consciousness, then who is on the way to consciousness? If you are consciousness, who is on the way to consciousness? That is the inquiry. Who is the I that is on the way to consciousness, on the way to freedom, liberation, and so who is this I? If you question the reality of this I, or if you see from where this I emerges, it disappears. And there is no reaching consciousness, achieving consciousness, attaining consciousness. There is the knowledge of being consciousness. If you are already that, what do you have to do to be what you are already? So all these practices may help you to gain concentration, purify the mind, and so on. It's okay, but the mind cannot remove the mind by its own practices because it has to be practicing, it has to be present, practicing. Here we question straightforward the reality of the practicer. Who is the practicer? And you will find that it doesn't exist.
I'm not against of the self-inquiry, I like it. But I thought that could be like a tool or the step towards the self-inquiry, because you said the still mind, the quiet mind, equal to consciousness, yeah? So in order to come closer to consciousness, then it's good to
try to understand who is going to get, is your consciousness, because you are consciousness. Then who is going to be closer to consciousness and who is far from consciousness? The answer is I. I means César. See, I am the body, I am César, and I want to be close to consciousness. These are your thoughts.
Yeah, for some reason, see, I can't recognize it, and all.
My job is to make you recognize that. You are consciousness, but you believe to be an individual, a person, right? Because of the wrong identity with the body. Then being consciousness, we want to realize consciousness, reunite with consciousness, be one with consciousness, to be one with consciousness, get close to consciousness. These are your thoughts. I want to be close to consciousness. I want to get liberated. The one that wants liberation doesn't exist. So he wants liberation because he believes it is in bondage, right? So bondage and liberation are concepts of the mind and the mind itself. So if there is no bondage, there is no liberation because there is no I. Because there is no I in this sense means ego. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So
This
I am
because it looks like
imagine that
you are talking.
I
I'm talking from that side. You are talking like sort of. We are talking about same thing, but you are from this side and I'm talking from other side.
no, we're talking about something completely different. I am Caesar, but imagine that I believe I am Peter. And then believing I am Peter, I want to be close to Caesar. I want to become aware of Caesar. I want to merge with Caesar. I want to experience Caesar. I want to be one with Caesar. I am Caesar. I just have to stop thinking that I am Peter. That's all. I just need to stop thinking I am the body. When I stop thinking I am the body, then the knowledge of
Sorry,
the
a
knowledge,
bit.
huh?
You disappeared for 10 seconds. Or
If you disappear for 10 seconds, that's good. If
I
it,
didn't hear that.
if it disappears at least for 10 seconds, it's good. Because if you disappear for 1 second, in this 1 second, you know you are consciousness. It's a moment of clarity or a glimpse.
No, I mean, you disappeared from the Skype, from the Zoom.
Am I back?
Yeah, you are back now. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I understand what you say. Do you understand what I say? That is what I'm interested in. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, but I understand. You said Caesar and Peter, but sort of like Peter is very different to Caesar, but what Olga is not different from the real I. Yeah.
Completely different. The real I is formless. It has no body, it has no mind.
But you said it's reflection.
Yes. What is the difference? You and the reflection are identical but different. It means you
Yeah.
are not the reflection, you are you, right? Are you following?
Yeah, I follow. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Whatever attempts we are trying to do with the mind, it's the mind,
Wait.
but this is not mind, so it's totally different.
The mind has to be present. It has to be active. So if the mind is present, actively doing something, that action cannot dissolve the mind. The mind is dissolved when it becomes still.
Yeah, so I
More
can understand what's wrong with just sitting and just feeling everything, like not with the active mind. I think it's basically peaceful mind when he's just perceive whatever comes.
do whatever you think is right.
I can't understand that one. You asked me if I understood, so this is this part I don't understand.
You keep on insisting. See, I'm telling you something, and then you say, what is wrong is doing whatever I want. To do it, to do as I want. Then do as you want.
It means I don't understand then.
Obviously.
I don't understand.
But don't just sit down and forget everything, forget enlightenment, forget all this knowledge, forget what I want, which is basically to surrender. And the mind keeps quiet straight away. And it merges in consciousness, disappears in consciousness. Why make it more complicated? See, there is a shortcut here. Why to walk around 30 kilometers to eventually have no choice but to take the shortcut? Because eventually the inquiry must take place or surrender. So
Yes, yes,
why don't we surrender straight away? Or
because the, the shortcut is like a jump from here to here, and the long cut, if you're walking with your legs, sort of, and then comes to that point. So that is more short, but more, I don't know, scary or more difficult shot, but you have to jump like straight away, like bah, like that.
your mind is running away from jumping because if it jumps, it disappears. So it remain doing some spiritual gymnastic. Right? What can I do? It is scary. For whom? For me, for the mind. It is scary because if I take the shortcut, I die, I disappear. But not you is the one that is going to disappear. It's the mind. See, if you lose the mind, you lose nothing. It's not even there. How can you lose what is not even there? If I am Caesar and I lose my identity as Peter, what did I lose? Nothing. I was never Peter. So I was never Peter and I didn't lose anything because I always been Caesar. I didn't gain consciousness because I am consciousness. And I didn't lose the ego because it never existed. Now, why do you say and other people say it is difficult? And what makes it difficult? Your own ideas. See, that if I do this, if I do that, then so this is a preconceived idea or an idea that you created yourself. And then you have the tendency, see, to follow these ideas, right? It's a mental tendency. The mind is following its own advice. Oh, right? So the mind becomes the guru and the seeker. So this is a wrong guru and this is a false seeker. My job is to make you become aware of this fact. That's all. If I succeed or not, that's all right. I do my best and I forget about the rest. People understand? Okay. They don't? Okay.
Is it important to listen only one person and just forget about everything else? Like for example, if I'm listening to you, I have to just follow you and not to read or.
You follow me, you follow the advice. And if somebody else give you the same advice, then good. If you give you another advice, then I
So
would.
generally, the
Guru
Advaita.
Guru tells you that you have to do something to be what you already are. What kind of guru is that? Must be fake. A guru that tells you to do something, but it explains to you that it's only to purify the mind, and that all these practices are temporary and limited, and that eventually you have to look within. That's a different person. To begin, the mind will never get enlightened, and consciousness is already enlightened.
Yeah, to just to look differently, put attention to a different place.
To yourself.
To itself, yeah.
To ignore the world, the body, and the mind, and thoughts, and feelings, and emotions, and sensory perceptions, and energy, this or that, and light, and all that. See, all that exists because I am. Means because there is consciousness of all that exists. So I don't depend upon any of that. All that depends upon me. The very consciousness of whatever phenomenon is taking place at any given moment, whether it's physical, mental, energetic, gross, subtle, spiritual, or whatever it is. Even if God appears, what kind of a God is a God that depends upon me? Cannot exist without consciousness. And God is actually consciousness, and we are that consciousness. This is why it's fundamental. Sorry. That is why it's fundamental to understand this knowledge. Without understanding, realization is difficult, if not impossible. If I understand that I am that, where is the question about doing something to be what I am? I have to be before I do something. I must exist prior to any thought, any action. See? If I am that and understand that I am that, what is the question about practice and even inquiry or meditation or anything? The very understanding of this makes you realize this.
Why do you think? You don't think. Why is, people say I'm conscious. It means I know. Conscious is I know. I know what I think. I know what I feel. I know what is happening. Like
Because
conscious is clear. Yeah.
consciousness to be the body, that's all. I am conscious. See, I means body, right? And then I am unconscious. So I still means body. I am dreaming. I means body because I have a body in the dreams also. Right? From the physical point of view, biological point of view, consciousness is associated with the body. People believe that consciousness is the brain. Some people believe that the brain creates consciousness. This is it's absurd. If the brain creates consciousness, and then in deep sleep, there is, according to them, unconsciousness. How do you know that such thing as unconsciousness exists? There must be another consciousness that knows about this consciousness that is unconscious. So there is no unconsciousness, there is no body consciousness, but then there is never no consciousness. And this consciousness is very self-aware. The mind covers that fact. So remove the mind and you are that consciousness that it is always present and is always self-aware. Ramana, I don't know if Ramana explained it like that, but at least like that it was translated in English. The Ramana says, consciousness plus awakened state is awakened state.
Sorry, what?
Consciousness consciousness plus awakened state is called awakened state. Consciousness plus dream state is called dream state. Consciousness plus deep sleep is called deep sleep. They say that consciousness must be relative. See?
Yeah.
Because it is known by another consciousness that must be absolute. So what people believe to be consciousness is actually the mind. This is a mental state. People call it a state of consciousness. Consciousness cannot be divided in states. It's not even a state. Consciousness simply is consciousness. It's a state of mind. All this collectively is a thought. Even sensory perception, the so-called material world, the objective reality is an image produced by the mind, therefore it's a thought. It's not only what we call mind. It's called the 5 sheets: the body, thoughts, intellect, right? Ego, and ignorance. I think I named 5, right? Ignorance, ego, intellect, thoughts, body. See? All this is one body. They are not 5, it's one body. It's one phenomena, it's one thing. These 5 sheets are the ones that cover consciousness. Remove them, and that's it. Sheets is double E. You not. How should I pronounce it? So no. Sheets. I have to make it longer. They have to roll the 5 sheets. Well, there are 5 sheet too because it's all because it,
Yes, equal. Yeah, I could only cry today.
What sheet is good enough?
it's like you are from Russian.
Yeah,
You have something called what is this doll? Like a matryoshka, right?
yeah.
Just like that. 5 matryoshka that divide the space from outside from the space inside the last matryoshka, which is the same space.
Thank you, César.
Do you understand anything I said?
Oh, I'm very depressed today. Like what? It's not even close. It's today. I think I would say I don't understand today. I
Then,
understand, but
then I will suggest you to watch the recordings.
what?
I will suggest you to watch the recording, this conversation.
I'll watch it again.
Depression is a state of mind, but is caused by a state of mind called dullness.
Depression, you said? Depression. Yeah.
Depression is caused by a state of mind called
Yeah.
dullness. And that very dullness covers consciousness. The mental state covers consciousness. Active state covers consciousness. Only the pure state of mind can reveal consciousness.
And it's only due like inquiry, self-inquiry. You
Yes.
recommend.
Or surrender. I found myself helpless to realize the self. Then I surrender my efforts, see, to realize the self. Huh? I surrender the knowledge, all that. I surrender. The I surrenders, means the I becomes still, quiet, right? Then the self will take over. Means it will reveal itself. And when it reveals itself, you will say, that is I. I am not even the I that surrenders. We are told to surrender because we believe to be the ego. We are told to inquire because we believe to be the ego. That's all. If we inquire or surrender, the belief of being the ego disappears in consciousness. So what disappears doesn't know that it is not there, right? Only what is there knows that it is there. What remains is consciousness, aware of itself and nothing else.
Thank you.
If you have a chance, you watch this, write down the date, right? 11 of August, right? The second session. Normally it is explained on the channel. If there is English, and then you can have a look later on.
Thank you.
We listen. We don't argue, we listen, right? We absorbed the knowledge. We just let it in, right? We don't argue with the knowledge, we let it in.
Then I don't.
Then we reflect on that. We ponder about it. And then that brings some understanding. And then for some time, we need to practice, right? Whatever, right? Not always listening and thinking about this, but also practicing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for this advice. So no need to like try to understand. It's like when I try to understand, it's like sort of looks like I'm arguing. I don't want to argue.
Yeah, but you do.
Yeah, that's my kind of definition, trying to understand, trying to dig in. But I suppose
That's a tendency. How can you understand? If you are trying to understand when you listen, you don't understand. How can you understand something that you haven't heard? Listening, hearing is prior to understanding. If your mind is still and you are listening, the understanding happens by itself. And perhaps even there and then, realization takes place. That's my experience with Mr. Ratana. Sometimes he will just speak, and that's it, gone.
so while he was speaking, you were sort of, you had realizations.
Yeah. Glimpses, yeah.
While he was speaking.
Yes.
Because you didn't resist, you just follow his words.
I didn't follow his words, I just listened. 100%, see, full attention. In the moment that attention was no longer into what he was talking about, it was on myself. Ask the self.
And you always agree with everything, your mind.
Two or three things, and I pay a heavy price for that. And I end understanding that he was right. So I explained this to you again, but you also forgot. You forgot because you were not listening. You asked me this question before. Careful is a coffee, though. You're gonna throw it out. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Okay, now you're going bananas.
No, that's good.
Even when we were in satsang, he will suggest, after you leave satsang, don't start talking straight away, right? Otherwise, what you hear will leave you, see, will go out of yourself. You will say, finish satsang, even also darshan, just find a quiet place and so all the experience, whatever it was happening there, right? Then think, be absorbed, yes.
Thank you, César. I'll do that. That is something that the mind cannot understand. It's a different sort of I don't know, technique, or can't say technique, different way of perceiving information, perceiving the knowledge.
The different culture.
Different what? Culture.
Yes.
I mean, because I'm Russian?
Western.
Western, okay. Hey, you are Western, or you are, how do you consider yourself?
I'm Western, but somehow,
Western mind.
but yeah, but I was somehow trained by Eastern knowledge, see, martial arts and all that, Japanese, right? There is a teacher, you don't argue with the teacher. Teacher says like this, you do like this. You see, you do like this, it is like this. Whatever he says, you follow, that's all. And There was always, before the class, a tremendous sense of respect for the person from whom you get the knowledge. So the West is not familiarized with that. The West is familiarized to the McDonald's system. Somebody goes to a classroom, I pay him, and he gives me something, cheers and goodbye. The only thing that I owe you is money, not even gratitude or respect. In India, the first thing that you do is you put your head on the feet of the guru and you surrender completely to him. See, so why should I look for a teacher if I want to argue back? So in India, you are given the knowledge and that's it. Now go, right? See you later. Because if I give you a banana and then you're chewing the banana and then you're asking for more bananas, you haven't even swallowed the banana. You are open, you're asking for more bananas with your mouth full of bananas. Say, eat that, chew that, swallow that, digest that, and come for more tomorrow if you need more. So I grew up in that school.
Thank you, Cesar, for reminding. I forget that things. I just forget it. I know it's like this, but I forget.
You're not even told to believe, right? Just listen. And then when Baba will give us darshan, we will just, I myself wouldn't even ask for it. I will just, everything will go. My head will be empty, right? With nothing to ask, nothing to, nothing. And when that finishes, I will normally go to my bedroom even, see, want to talk to anybody, so to let that sink. Right? To be absorbed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There is a moment that we don't even want to hear what they say. Right? We feel that when we are close to these beings, our mind keeps quiet. We don't have to make any effort. We get close to this being, and somehow the mind keeps quiet. If the mind is quiet, why disturb it? See, tries in, see, if the mind is quiet, there is no need for inquiry. The inquiry quiets the mind. Actually, people don't notice it, but quiet mind is a mind that is already merged in the self, because mind is thought. No thoughts, no mind. So the thoughts are, see, merged in their source from the very place where from they arose. Some devotees of Ramana said so. The moments that we enjoyed the most was when everybody was quiet. Now, when people were asking questions, of course, they understood if there is a doubt, naturally they are free to ask, see, and they will get an answer, right?
Благодарю.
Imagine a monkey that is jumping from one branch to another branch and is shouting, asking, please tell me, can anybody tell me what to do to stop jumping? See, what to do to be still? Wouldn't you laugh about it? Stop jumping, right? It's a contradiction. What to do to be still? Nothing. Stop moving, right? Stop running mentally. See, thinking of means thinking about this, thinking about that, wondering about this, how to get that, how to get rid of this, how to know that, how to get enlightened also.
Yeah, I think it's, as you said, just to come for the these satsangs and absorb the
Okay.
absorb the.
The question, ask the question. If you wouldn't ask this question, I wouldn't end talking about this. So if that produces an impact strong enough, maybe less questions, less doubts will be there. Because if your mind is not really quiet, then ask your questions, right? If it is quiet, means there are no questions. And I'm just enjoying this Moment of absence of all this mental turmoil. Right.
Thank you for pointing out all those,
You're welcome.
about the way I was arguing with you, not listening.
You're welcome.